Listen, I know you're probably tired of hearing about coronavirus in Trinidad and Tobago, so today we're doing something very different. Today we're talking about coronavirus in the Caribbean. But before we begin, I want to acknowledge a couple people. I want to recognize those on the front line. Nurses, doctors, politicians, reporters, garbage men, taxi drivers, supermarket and gas station attendants. Anyone keeping the wheels of society turning. Thank you very much for your service. Massive shout out to the scrap iron man who drove through my neighborhood yesterday. I want to also recognize our Prime Minister, Dr. Keith Rowley. Listening to your news briefings, I feel a sense of security and safety. I mean that, honestly, and I want to thank you very much. This week you said something profound. It was so profound that I will never forget it. Words to the effect of, a state of emergency cannot make people wash their hands. And you're absolutely right, because simple requests like asking people to stay away from crowds or avoid the river is like you're talking a totally different language. Today I went to the river, and if you see people, all you need to barricade the river. It's Thursday the 19th of March 2020. Trinidad has 7 confirmed cases. 68 more people who came off a cruise ship have been quarantined. Across the Caribbean, the bad news continues to trickle in. As of March 17th, Jamaica has 13 confirmed cases. On March 18th, the island reported its first death. 26 people in isolation, 27 in quarantine at government facilities, and 52 in home quarantine. We also know that COVID-19 is hurting the sex industry in Jamaica. According to one sex worker,
holy party man, what me used to see them now come again. But me have a few clients who might still come regardless of what go on with the coronavirus. But right now, cause things so slow, me have to add on a little money so me can make a food. In a slow time like this, me raise my price. Right now from $3,000 up, nothing below.
Isn't it crazy that in times like this, the price of everything is going up?
First hand sanitizer, then toilet paper. And now sex.
On the 17th of March, Barbados confirmed its first 2 cases. A 48-year-old visitor and a 39-year-old Barbadian with a recent travel history. Up to this point, for the economy's sake, the island's borders remain open because Barbados is very dependent on tourism and the UK. To quote Barbados's Prime Minister, we accept we are dealing with an outbreak that will affect probably 3,000 to 8,000 people in a fatal way, but we may in fact affect far, far more if we immediately close our borders. A lot of these tourists come from the UK, and meanwhile in England we have a worst case scenario where if nothing is done, 80% of the population could be infected.
This isn't part of my script, but oh boy, now is a terrible time to be a politician because you're faced with all these decisions that you need to make. The population is unhappy because you aren't closing the borders, and then you have a segment that says that if we close the borders, we're doomed economically.
If you're a praying person, pray for your politicians. They're hard to pray for, but pray for them, they need it. Guyana has 4 cases of 19 COVID. There are 4 major quarantine sites for people tested positive with the coronavirus. Also, anyone who tests positive will be subjected to mandatory quarantine.
It had nothing like self-quarantine. You had to go to the facility.
Schools have been closed for 2 weeks. Private lessons are banned, which makes sense because it's better you have a dunce-head child than a dead child. Can you imagine the essays that Caribbean children will get when all this blows over? Okay, children, you have one of 3 choices. You could write about
a day in ICU, how I spent my corona vacation, the day all my grandparents died.
Cuba has 4 cases. One is an Italian. Unfortunately, he passed away. The other is an American who was staying in Trinidad.
If he's a Trinidadian, don't panic. We're not talking about Trinidad, the island. Cuba has a city called Trinidad.
Schools and public places remain open and no travel restrictions have been announced. In a show of solidarity, Cuba allowed a cruise ship with coronavirus patients to dock so the sick could go home. And that's not all. Cuba manufactures a drug, I can't pronounce the name so I'll put it on the screen below, that has effectively cured 1,500 patients from the coronavirus. And it's this same drug and other drugs that China is using in its fight against the coronavirus. And other countries are turning to the island for help. So there's hope. In the meantime, stay safe and stay indoors. Red Wall News. It's better than blues.